this,
We'll see.
meeting to order.
My guy says it's not leaking, your guy says it is leaking, so we're waiting to put a meter on this one.
Call this meeting to order. And, want to welcome everyone here tonight. And at this time, I would like to, turn it over to Mr. McDonald. He's got, he's gonna lead some work. Mr. McDonald.
Prayer request, Miss Diana Shoulders and Ricky Shoulders, Mr. Joe Taylor, Mr. Scotty Lewis, Roger Lewis and his family. Miss Kathy, his sister, passed away. Diana Gotchkoff and family, her father-in-law's passed away. Of course, the Zach Medley family, Mr. Jack Williams, Jude McCaleb, Courtney Taylor, Jennifer Mortenson's son, recovering from a car accident, Michelle Flint's son, Amanda Vaughn, teacher at Defeated Elementary School, Jarrah Huff and family, grandmother's passed away. Paulette Shoemake, Amanda Nicole Shoemake's mother-in-law has been diagnosed with cancer. Miss Michelle Pritchard's stepdad has been diagnosed with cancer. And Miss Connie Halliburton's mother-in-law is in the hospital. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for this day and all the blessings that you give us daily, Lord. I pray for these people, families that we've listed, that you comfort them. Lord, you're so good to us. Pray you give us wisdom and every decision we make would be pleasing to you and the people that we represent. In Jesus' name, amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item is consent item. I hope everyone had a chance to look over your board packet. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve consent items A, B, C, D, and E, all of them.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Let's do a roll call if you don't care. Mr. Enoch?
Yes.
Mr. McKay?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
And I say yes. We have Mr. Heston and Mr. Lewis are absent. Superintendent actions, any of those you would like to pull or discuss?
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Is this on superintendent actions?
no, I'm sorry. It was on. We just approved it. We done listed it.
What?
Oh, the permission to bid the demolition. What we talking about, the Save-A-Lot building?
You want to address that?
I'm gonna let Tim address it more down to the handling the project.
Okay, Tim can answer the question.
I know what it is, but I want to
We've got Mr. Travis is working down there right now. We've got to do some exploratory things to get the plans approved. We've got to bust some concrete, different things to make sure the building, whatever it needs for that. But after that, we may need to have that sign removed. I don't know what all that's going to take to, rental wise, those sort of things. But be some demolition work there. That's what it is.
They've not done started it.
They have cleaning it out and taking some of those things apart and removing like drywall. They've got to get in there to see some of those support structures and things like that's what they've been working on that.
I may be behind. Y'all may have done approved it. Or is he the one going to do the job?
Well, he got approved as the
Construction manager.
construction manager.
Okay, that's what I'm
He's
asking.
got approved for that. He's approved, and may not even have to, you had some concern about getting into the holidays and getting behind a month or two, and it may not be the threshold, it has to be bid. He'll know more after they do the test, right?
Okay.
And now, Mr. Dudley's been handling all that, and I invite you or anybody else that, I know I stopped by the other day to Save-A-Lot building, and Mr. Dudley was there, and he explained to me what they were taking out and moving around and doing, And I advise any board member to go by there and see Mr. Dudley. He can explain it more in depth what's going on.
When I went by, and
Oh,
to
okay.
me, that's what demolition is, a lot of what they're doing, at least some of it, but,
Right.
that's all I'm wanting to know.
But
If it's been
have you
approved or hadn't been
considered
approved or what?
demolition, knocking down block and removing signs?
Yeah, some of that stuff, I mean, most of what they've done is cleaned out. We've had, of course, the architect's been there, had a couple of different engineering firms there. And they're working on the plans to submit those to the state fire marshal's office. But before the engineers sign off on it, there's some things they've got to see with the support system, slab, that part of that building has been added on to, and looking at those piers and digging some of that. So that's getting ready to do that right now. If we had waited to do anything, it put us, another 2 or 3 months behind as far as getting the plan.
Thank you.
Any more questions, Dick?
I'm good.
I will say also, while I was there looking, that thing has got a good looking sprinkler system in it, which would be a big plus for us expense wise. I mean, well, I guess negative wise.
And it's elevated too?
Yeah.
They built it higher than the other
Yeah.
buildings there?
Yeah, so it, what I'm saying down there, everything looks good, so,
Yeah, the buildings he's done looks good, that's for sure.
yeah. Okay. Anybody else on superintendent's actions, anything? Okay, let's go to new business. We need to approve the 25-26 school calendar. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Hingham? Second.
A second.
Mr. Manning? Discussions? Yes, sir.
I think directors, we talked about this a couple of times, me and him, I think in private, but you ever see us doing a full school year like some of these surrounding counties are doing? Do you ever see that happening here?
That would be a board decision. I think it'd have to be a lot of, some townhouse meetings, there'd have to be some polling of the community, there'd be some polling of the teachers and the students and families, obviously. It is an option. I mean, we've checked on the states, I mean, it's considered an alternate schedule, there's still systems close to us doing the 9-3 schedule.
Yep.
The 9-2 schedule, some have been honored, but, I don't know that you could sell it, but it would be, I think they would retain better on it, myself.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know, you never sell it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd end up going like to a 4-day, you save a lot of money because you have the doors shut 3 straight days. It would save a lot of heating and cooling, and it wouldn't save you any more days on your actual diesel fuel and that kind of thing. But
Mhm.
it is, and I can run research and bring it back if you'd like.
What is it? How do they go? How many weeks do they go and then they take off? How does it exactly
Well, you gotta
work?
they give you a time frame from this start point to this start point, and you got to get special permission if you went longer. But the key is you gotta get 180 or 85 days in that time frame to consider a school year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something you'd have to get, if you go past that date, you would have to get special permission, but you still bunch your Christmases together up to 2 weeks, and you still bunch you. And even on 9-3, you still, what you do, you take all the 1-day breaks out and really make sure they're really combined.
Uh-huh.
So, but it's doable if that's something we do.
Yeah.
But
Okay, I was just wanting to test the waters and
I
see
think
what
it'd
you
be a
thought.
lot of planning and research. And,
Yeah, you just don't do it one year, do you? You just don't do it, yeah. Right, okay, that's all.
This calendar is made up by the calendar committee, right? We have a calendar committee.
Yeah, I made a point, I don't go to this, where they can't say that the administration's forcing them to do one thing. We send out surveys, and then they represent a rep from each school. And when they come in,
Yeah.
I would do it different, I don't like some, but that's what it's not about. It's about what
They-
schools do.
That's it
Question?
for me.
No more discussion, roll call. Mr. Hingham?
Yes.
Mr. McHale?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Myself, yes, 2 absent. The next thing is the approval of the Azar Incorporated as a backup vendor for
You're on the wrong meeting.
I didn't get on that.
Who's over there?
How'd you get that?
There you go.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Approve the papers. Yes. Mr. McCallum.
Second.
Mr. Taylor, second.
Just a second to catch up.
Okay. Caleb made the motion, Mr. Taylor second.
And Mr. Shoulders, for the public to know, it's because we were having problems with Staples delivery, and the letter told all the problems we were having while we're doing a second backup.
We're gonna still use Staples.
Yes, so they have the option, they'll have the option to go the cheapest or to go with the best service.
Okay. Understood.
And then 6
Discussions? If not, this is money, so, let's have a roll call. Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. McCallum?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Self, yes, 2 ayes. Now, bid approval for diesel fuel. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussions?
Did you say diesel fuel?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a local person that can, or company that can provide that fuel? I think I noticed it was like $300 difference.
We do bids on it. And,
Normally,
you
we
take the lowest bid, don't you?
We took the lowest bid. A lot of times the local is the lowest bid. It's in the past, we just used the cheapest price we could get.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a few cents. Is it still beneficial to us to go outside the county?
Well, you're saving quite a bit of dollars, you know, it's just a decision that the board's gotta make, but most of the time they work together, those companies do, so like if local's out, they'll go outside and work with that partner company, so, I think most of the time, I think they talk to each other whether they should or not, but I think they all do, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think local,
I think a lot of it comes from the exact place.
I think probably what, 95% of the time local gets it.
More than that, yeah.
Nixon, Christian McDonald Nixon gets it a
Nixon
lot of
on.
time.
Rita Apple, can make.
Sure, that's kind of shocked she didn't get it there this
But she
time.
gets probably 95% of the bids she gets. Yes. And to answer your question too, he always does, you do try to do local if it's any way possible.
Yeah.
He will do local.
That's sure, we give you the bids and you make the decision, you know. We don't instruct or point who you should pick, that's up to the local, you know what I mean?
Any more discussion?
Thank you.
Roll call, Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
7 yes. Accountability report for 24-25. Do I have a motion on that one?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, second. Discussions? No discussions? Again, let's do a roll call on that. Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. McCallum?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Seth, yes. Okay, the next item is a discussion only. This is, something, some of the supporters for the, baseball team have come up with some things that they need. And again, this is discussion. I will also say, at any time you get anything like this, and feel free to contact Mr. Smith, and I've been involved in this with Mr. Long, and I've had several discussions with him. I know a little something about it, but not as much as Mr. Smith does. And at any time, any of y'all want to discuss this with him or me, and if it's me, we don't make any kind of decisions, we'll just discuss it. And because there will be no kind of decision made between the two of us, but it will be discussed. But anytime, right now, I want to, really turn this over to, Mr. Smith and let him explain exactly what they're looking for.
Do you want me to do a question and answer, or this, I'll tell you what, I met with, I think, Mr. Long.
Let me stop. Mr. Long also, he did get y'all information, and each one of you's got information on what he was wanting to do. Did you, Mr. Enoch, did you get the information on it?
Yeah, I know about that.
Pardon me.
Yeah, I mean, I was involved when it started,
Oh,
or
all right.
kinda.
And,
Are you talking about in there?
Yeah, that's it, sir.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And all the rest of you got it. Okay, all right, I just want to make sure that.
I think you talked to them, I met with Mr. Long in March, talked about lights, this one we talked about, we put the budget together, and I'm gonna let Norma and Mr. Nixon both do some research for me. While I don't think the proposal will be realistic, I wanna say this, when I moved down here, and I'm not from a baseball background at all, loved it, coached it, played it, but I'm not a baseball, so, but I couldn't believe it. At that time, neither team had a field or lights, and I don't think that's very realistic in the daily work. Well, I mean, I couldn't believe that, and that's been 20 years ago now. So I'm a big advocate to think that needs to happen. How we get there, we may differ. You know, my son's a pretty good player, and he's going to go, I know, 4 years and not have a field and not have lights, and that shouldn't happen. I mean, in today's world, every kid should have those opportunities, boys and girls, okay? You know, when I got the thing, I went to the principal, he didn't really know anything about it, the AD didn't know anything about it, the coach didn't know anything about it. So I really think those things, I know from being a coach, I think that should be the protocol, these things should go to the principal and AD and then it be presented. But I asked Mr. Nixon, and David, when you talk, I know you're gonna be honest, but I think you went to 5 different counties and looked. And
Trousdale, Macon,
and
Jackson.
And one thing you did find out is we have a beautiful field there. You got to brag on the boosters, and they've done, the boosters and the coaches have done an absolutely wonderful job. And a lot of them's done a lot out of pocket. They've been, I don't say they've been able to leave anybody out, but they deserve the credit, them and the past players and parents, the boosters. We put netting up several times, a few years ago. Then one of the things that really caught my attention, that I did pay a lot of attention to, was in the report was safety. And so that's when I got David involved. What y'all been on our 3 trips? We met with the netting guy, and then you brought, was it engineers over from Bonnell?
Yeah, they're the ones that put the pole, or made the poles that are there now. They're gonna make the poles and show us what we did wrong the last time. And hopefully
Whoever, I don't know who installed them, but whoever did, they probably wasn't put in correctly.
they were not, according to them and to the netting guy today, they weren't put in correctly.
And then adding the extra netting did probably cause too much stress on the poles. I looked at them too, because I thought maybe they're supposed to be that way, but that wasn't the case. But we did find out that in that Bonnell graciously is going to donate some hurricane level poles when they run them, correct?
Right.
And
They're gonna be 6
the
inches
netting
instead
guy
of 4
lined up. We're going to, it'll end up being, absolutely have new netting. Of course, part of that goes back to the netting. I don't know how much you want to hear, but last week when we were going over insurance, I talked to Mr. Piper. He says that at the cost, we're better off to pay for windshields than we are to keep adding. So insurance and that, but that's another story. But back in budget talks, as you know, one of the things when we negotiated, we had to cut $1.5 million, and that was one of the things that was in there was the lighting and diesel fuel and electric and those kind of things. And I think at that time, we had a plan that if we look, our budget's on schedule, that we would look at going in front of the county commission, knowing when you talk about what we talked about today, that, and I asked for an amendment to make that happen, okay? One thing you gotta be very cautious about, not only does it need to be equal, but you can't do boys. It's my job to advise you, but you can't do boys and not do girls. Now you have to, that's not Title IX will be in there. I see you don't want to let Robert know about that too, but they have, even if somebody doesn't turn you in, which I would hope somebody in this office would turn you in because it's illegal. But even if they don't, they have people that's in this area right now that are going to schools and asking. And that, what people don't understand, if you had a booster, and Robin, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you had a bazillion-dollar booster that built you a stadium, they don't care where it comes from. The girls are gonna have to have one that is that level or better, and guess who's gonna pay for that? So we have to keep that in mind, and everything has to work together when we do it. I think at that time, we talked about 700,000, that's what I've got wrote down, is that correct? For most, but again, and I think we're gonna explain the amendment process, but we also, I think in March, we talked about adding a fence. Coach Apple and I have been talking for about 2 years of adding a fence. Not only we need a fence around the football because it looks bad. You know, we've done a lot of upgrades over there, and the fence looks terrible. That's one of the things that we've had on our short list, and we would love to incorporate the baseball in that while we're doing that. That you're probably looking at about $300,000 to do that. And Norma's trying to put her magic around. We're writing a grant. We don't know we'll get it yet, but we are writing a grant, and that's what we're planning on doing.
About 180,000.
And that won't cover it all, but maybe we can get started the project with it. That's if you get it, and you don't know you're gonna get it. I would encourage you to stay within the plan, because that's, you know, to do, that's what we've got, what we have is planning. But it's your decision. That's where I'm at. David, if you'd like to talk now about what you found out and what they suggested on when we put the new poles up.
Yeah, Bonnell's going to donate the poles. They're gonna be 30 feet long. They said to put them 4 to 6 feet in the ground. They will be hurricane rated. So what's up there now is a 4-inch pole, 3/16 width of it. And the ones we're getting now are gonna be gonna be quite a bit bigger. So, and I talked to Ned, and Bonnell's gonna donate those for us. They said as soon as we, give them the go-ahead, they'll make them. And, so, that was a good thing. I met with the netting guy today. He's really the guy that showed me everything around it. You know, where the brick is, busted around there, that's caused by the poles. They were put in concrete. These poles do not go in for concrete. They have to go in gravel. The poles have to move. And that's what caused all that to break. That's what caused it to bend, was that they were putting concrete, which honestly, that made no sense to me either, but that's what he said, because I would have thought you would have piled it full of concrete. And he said, no, they've got to move. And he suggests cutting those off at the top of the brick and going right on the inside of there. We can go down and he showed me the process of doing it. So they're going to be, it's going to be a job, but that's what I learned about it today. He didn't recommend, you know, the overhang on it. He didn't recommend doing that. He thinks they'll be tall enough that you won't need it. But he said putting that on it did contribute to the bending of the poles. So that's where we are now. Is there anything else I can think of to tell you? I went around to, I told you, the other ball fields and just looked, took pictures, didn't talk to anybody, just looked at it. These are going to be quite a bit taller than what's at the schools around this area that I went to. And I'd say the reason for that, they're out at their school campuses. Ours is in the middle of a residential section, so ours have to be a little taller we got more to protect. So they don't, these schools I went to, they don't have the problem we do like that, having to build one as tall as what we're doing. If there's anything else you can ask me, if I don't know it, I'll figure it out.
How much is the netting gonna run?
He's gonna give me, he said, take me 2 or 3 days for him to give me a price.
So the last one we put, and I may be wrong, and that's when we had about 13,000.
Yeah.
I may be wrong in that, I think.
He said this one is a good net. He says 15-year warranty on this net, but you know, what we'd have to do then, if we try to use that again, we're gonna have to piece it together, because it's gonna be taller than what we got now. So I told him, give me a price on the new net, just to go with that.
Was he gonna put, we're gonna try to work somebody local on the poles, they want them already put in, or they,
Yeah, we'll put the,
We have to have the poles up and then he puts
yeah,
it in
and
there.
then he'll come in and do that. So we'll have to, we don't have, I don't know how, that's one thing to think about, putting them up, because we don't have the equipment to pick that stuff up and do it. So, but we'll figure something out on it, and get somebody, maybe we'll talk to Oklahoma and somebody with some big, bucket truck or something other that can do that sort of work.
They might have us.
Because I don't think me and Bray are big enough to do this.
You'll have to sell it. Big-
How's the girls' field? I went over there and walked around this weekend, but I didn't see much wrong with the girls' field down there. Is the girls' field fine?
I've not heard anything about it except the dirt they put on. It's the only thing that did locally, I mean, lately, and they're getting that fixed, so what I understand, working on it.
Does it have a brick wall behind the backstop too? I should remember, but I
I'm
just
sorry,
said
yeah, there's a brick wall around.
On the softball, too?
On softball?
Yeah, I'm asking about the softball.
No, honestly, I can't remember.
I can't either.
I can't remember either which one they got.
I don't believe those poles busted that wall until they added to it. Or they didn't while I was there.
At the baseball field?
Until they added the.
Yeah.
I don't believe it ever busted until they added to it.
The movement of it and everything, yeah.
You have a question? Mr. McDonald?
May I say something?
Yes, sir.
I met with some of the people that organized that, and they made 4 or 5 points, and I think we're already on the same page, but I learned that there's only less than a handful of high school baseball fields in Tennessee that don't have lights.
I'd say that's true.
And of course, the field and everything was paid for by the boosters, no cost to us, and they estimated about $750,000 worth of work, and they still, as a group, owe $150,000 on it. Of course, the boosters, the boys boosters built the girls' field too, and these fields have enabled, at the point in time when we were sharing Crump Parish with Gordonsville High School, there weren't enough practice facilities for the junior high to even have teams, and now the junior highs have teams. Of course, they need the lights so they can better utilize the practice time there. If you consider this, the teams, the extra junior high teams, really there's more students involved in the baseball program now in our county than are in either one of the high school football programs. And they just wanted me to make that point, which I think we're already on the same page. We need to help them. And not having the lights, sometimes they have to call the games early because of darkness. There's a safety issue with that too. You know, kid get hit in the head with a baseball because he can't see it. Don't know who would be liable, but I'm sure fast talking lawyer find somebody. But safety issues and everything, and again, I think we're already on the same page. We want to help them, and I agree it needs to be done.
I think every boy and girl ought to have that opportunity. I think how we get there, what we got there now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we should have had it 20 years ago.
I was gonna say the last, I was chairman of the board when they put the ball fields in over there.
What year was that? Do you know, Tommy?
2010, 2011. We had a big meeting over it, and we couldn't put lights on the field at the time because that was an agreement we had made to put the fields up there with the people in the residency. And it has to be no lights put into that field until the last residency either agrees to it or deceases or sales. I think that's points made now,
Well,
or they
I've heard
agree.
that, but we tried to research that and we can't find that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, that's the way it was presented, and that's how we had to do it.
Would it be in the lower minute?
I would ask Mr. Brooks, the attorney, because he was representing them at the
Okay.
time. And of course, Beller and them was representing us, and it was put in that at the time. So Mr. Brooks would be the person you probably would want to talk to. But now, that being said, I'm all for lights. I ain't gonna sit and tell you I'm not for lights. I've been for lights for years now, because you need lights. And now we have a plan, we had a plan in our budget this year to put some lights over there. Now listen, let's be realistic. I don't know if we're gonna spend $400,000 for lights that you can have a dimmer switch and a ball tracker or not. I envision a light that you just turn on the switch and you got lights. Now that might be something different, but I do agree, we need to have lights on both fields, softball and baseball field. I agree with that. And I think the school board has a plan over the past few years. What a lot of people's got to realize is, guys, we have retreats, we have strategic planning sessions, and usually either January, February, or March, when we all get together, and we'll put these on our tracking list. And then we slowly start trying to knock them down. Lights was actually on it this year. Now, it got cut out of the budget. Now, we can do a budget amendment, which we agreed we probably would, go back and see if we can get some money. We had $700,000 in the budget this year, $350,000 for Smith County, $350,000 for Warrensville, for stuff. That got cut out of the budget, so we'll have to go back to the county and ask for an amendment for that. But I'm 100% for lights. Now, I'm not for $5,000 for a maintenance fee on the field, because other sports in here's got maintenance fees too on the fields and stuff. So I'm kind of not for that, and I was shocked to see that in there. The backdrop, if it's a safety concern, looks like we got a plan here to fix that. Parnell's gonna step up, donate some poles. I think we can get them in the ground. I think we can get new netting up. For safety, I mean, you don't want somebody to get hit upside the head or with a ball. So I'm not saying I'm not for that either. You know, that's a need. But one thing everybody's got to remember right now, we plan and try to put stuff in order how we're going to do stuff, but we've got other needs pressing right now. We got our number one need of this board right now, and we talked about it at the last board meeting. We've got to get some traffic off the highway at New Milton. Now, we don't have the money to do that, but that's the number one pressing need we got, getting that traffic flow going over there. And we also got a pressing need at Defeated for traffic too. Get your traffic over there. So keep in mind, we got more needs for that than we do for lights right now. If the poles and stuff is a safety issue, maybe that's different. The fencing, yeah, anybody could walk around on that field if they wanted to. I mean, used to fencing was cheap. You said it's gonna be about $300,000 now to put
No,
fence
that's
on a
counting,
football
not
field.
just that, that's counting what we planned on going from the football field
Yeah.
all the way around, incorporate the baseball field. And so you-
Hopefully, we can get a safety grant to help offset that. Whenever you get a grant, that's good things. So I'm 50% in for a fence, maybe. I'm not 100% sold on the fence. But, there's some things I think that we can work in and start in our planning to try to help them. I'm glad that, we've got some needs, but I'm gonna tell you, be very careful, because there's more things out there than Smith County High School baseball people. There's also softballs, there's also other baseball teams, there's also other softball teams, there's football teams, there's this, but I applaud Smith County for doing the baseball fields. I think you got beautiful fields, and I honestly think we gotta get some lights on that field, and probably gotta get a backdrop on that field. Now, some of this other stuff, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But right now, in order for us to do this, I think it has to be kind of put down on the totem pole just a little bit further, because I personally, guys, think we got some stuff on our agenda that we need to knock off the list first before we get into this. Like I said, I'm all for the lights, and they was in the budget and they got cut out of the budget. I'd hate to go to the county commissioners and ask for money to be put back in the budget, amendment done for lights, when I know we're gonna have to have an amendment done for some parking lots at New Milton and Defeated, which is not gonna be cheap either. So, I thank the Booster Club for giving us a list of our needs, and this is something we can talk about. And like I said, the lights are already been talked about, and if it's a safety issue for this backdrop stuff, we need to get that fixed. You know, we always want to make sure safety's first and take care of that. Now, that's how I feel, guys. That's just me, that's how I feel.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Have we got anything back from the state allowing us to work on either road?
I don't know that answer yet.
I think
It's
they're waiting for a permit at New Middleton.
It's gonna be hard to get them, I believe.
What?
It'd be hard to get a permit for that.
But I don't know.
I've been over and looked at that too, and the proposal of that, I mean, that's our land.
Yeah.
All we need is a permit to get off the road, so
Yeah.
I'm kinda like Mr. Smith, I don't see why they would hold us up, I mean, we're not asking them to.
I've been told, but I don't know. I can't tell you that too. That'll happen until I see
I
it.
thought you want to put in a lane up through there,
Yeah, but it comes over on us, on our property.
not right on the side of the road.
No, the lane comes
Okay.
over on our property.
Okay, that might work.
It's got, but I don't know. I understand what.
It's my understanding you just want to put like a pull-off lane connected to the main road. That would be hard to get them to approve it.
I don't believe anything that he printed. I said tonight, so I understand what I was told. I can't tell you that you'll get it, but we were told we thought we did, so.
I'm afraid we got the subject, but
But,
another point I'd like to make is Mr. Hackett's sitting here, and there's a lot of other boosters too, and they put a lot of money, him and others, and time into a baseball field and softball field. At some point, we can't just keep pushing it down the road. At some point, we need to step up and at least help them. It's school board land. They're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars on our land. You know, at some point, we can't keep saying year after year,
well, Scotty,
we're
we're
gonna do
saying
it.
that.
Well, now, we've been talking about lights since I was on here
I
last
know,
time.
And lights was in the budget, correct, guys?
Yes.
We,
I understand that,
in
yes.
the budget. We didn't cut the lights, I mean, we had to cut the lights.
Well, you did cut them out. I mean, you agreed to cut them out.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're working on something, yes,
But,
I applaud them for what they've done, and we need to help them as much as we can, but there's gonna be times, guys, we can't help.
Well, I was on here 10 years ago and we was talking about it then. You know, so we ain't made any progress really in 10 years as far as getting the lights on there.
Well,
My point is, how long are you gonna keep
You
kicking
need
down
to
the
be
road?
checking on your agreement first. I advise you to go with Mr. Brooks and talk to him.
We will do that, but we had research, we couldn't.
I
And it
believe
might never
We
be
checked
put
the
in there.
city,
the main one passed away that was against it. I know that.
Is Gordonsville building a field? Are they gonna need lights right now?
I don't even know if that's even been discussed.
They agreed that they would, sign a whatever, that they would never ask for lights, because they know what the, parents over here's done in the community, that they would take that same amount of money and apply it toward the excavation, the fences and so on. And they signed an agreement to never ask for anything else.
So that's an expense that's not necessarily coming up right now. It's gonna be kind of a deferred expense to help Gordonsville squad. Or am I mistaken? They're in the process of building their own field
No,
too.
the process.
No.
The money was in the budget with this. It was $700,000 was in the budget. Half went to Gordonsville side, half went to over here to put the lights in. That's what it was.
What I'm saying is,
You're saying.
they don't need that hash, and we run that down the road
Yeah.
somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
They're ready,
Yeah.
my understanding now, again, they're ready to start, so, Tommy may know what that might do.
I don't know. I don't.
Did that come through us as a board that, did it come through us first? I don't remember. Can somebody refresh my memory? Did they ask us if they could build on our land, or are we just sitting here and they can do what they want?
Smith County.
No, go
Well, they
ahead.
got
Smith County
permission
asked.
well before
No, I'm
us.
talking,
Yeah, a long time
I'm talking about Gordonsville.
They want now.
Have they started?
They're not starting
I've
yet.
heard it, but honestly, I'm not sure about that. Are they gonna start a field on the Preston property?
They've got two different options, my understanding, they've got a private piece somebody might
Yeah.
help them with, and then it would be the board, obviously, would have to get them permission to build on Preston property.
Well, I think they're, without being that way, I am, but they're getting the cart in front of the horse then. I think you ought to come to us as a board collectively and say, hey, y'all got a problem with us building on that property? I
Well,
mean,
They probably would, Marty, but there's another piece of property involved in this from somewhere else, so they don't know where they're gonna go yet.
Yeah,
So they don't,
they would before, they would have to.
they have to before they
They
do.
couldn't get, they would have to ask.
Just like
You couldn't
everybody else.
touch anything on that property without the board's permission.
well, who is they?
Well, it'd be
The
principal
boosters, the
AD
school.
And the boosters, just like it was McKinney.
Sometimes I think we let the boosters have too much say. They're sort of wagging the dog here. They're the tail wagging the dog, and I'm totally, maybe I'm looking at this wrong, but I'm not against this at all, the lights, but I am against us pressuring the board to some things that, I'm like Tommy, I think your student traffic at these two schools take highly more precedent than these lights on these fields, myself. Because that's a safety concern. You go to New Milton, sit over there, and if they was somebody need an ambulance, I don't know how they'd get through that traffic congestion. I don't.
Now, I don't think it's been nobody pressuring anybody, it's just, they were asked to put something together that what they would like to have.
You talking about at Gornsville?
No,
No, right here.
Let me say that, it's just like Smith County. Smith County, that was bought, pretty much paid for with private money. Okay?
I understand.
But they still, once it turned over, they got permission before they put that big nice building out center field. They couldn't just go over and put it on it. You guys voted it. You
It has to be voted in, everything has to, when it
So,
has to be.
but I was getting back to what Doc said about Gornsville side. I mean, I'd heard it, but I haven't addressed it, but I've heard it that they're wanting a practice field on the Preston property, is that correct?
They want to build a field, a boys and girls complex.
Yeah.
And Mr. McDonald, I see what Mr. McDonald was saying.
you kick it
He was
down the road.
saying if
They
They
didn't need it now.
They didn't need it now, in other words, go ahead and give the cartridge there $350, but do a promise for $350 performance for it.
Right.
When
Yes.
they needed it, then give it to them, that's where you were going with it,
Right.
right?
But I think what they were waiting on too is if the lights, because my understanding, they're waiting for that and they're gonna start their project. But they got, you know, $350, they got a lot of diesel fuel, they think they've got a lot of that donated, a lot of the dirt work and so on.
On the
That's
cart?
what they're thinking.
Okay.
But no, nobody on this right here come in and said, you know, demanded, we want this, this, and this. They have just, me personally, I asked them to come up with what their needs were, you know, and, what they needed, and then us as a board could see what, you know, we could do. There was some things in there maybe that, maybe were, you could done it a little bit cheaper than what they were wanting to do. And, but for as them demanding it, or any want, you know, anything like that, there was nothing like that went on. It was just a good sit-down conversation. Nobody promised anything. It was just bring what you would like to have, and then we could go from there.
But this was in the budget and we voted on it.
Yes,
and
it was.
we got beat, the ones, me and you and maybe
We
one
all
more voted for in
to do
favor of this.
To give
But,
each.
yeah, but then it got overvoted because
Yeah.
we was in that stressful time there.
And we still, my understanding of the agreement, we still was gonna visit that, there's two ways to get there. I mean, you know, I shut everything down. No, we're trying to pinch every cent we can pinch, okay? And we'd love to save that amount of money, or see toward, after the first year, kind of see where we're at. Hopefully had it saved out of this budget. I don't know that it'll be there. You could take it out of fund balance, but Norma's already shaking her head. I mean, it's in fund balance, but how long it's gonna stay there, I don't know. When you start going into fund balance, you're asking, and that's still got, but the new system's gotta be approved as an amendment by the county commission, even if we decide that.
Well, I'm like Tommy, I got one more. That third column there with the 5,000 for the baseball maintenance, I just don't, I can't agree with that at all because.
Marty, I think, you know, if we could start, you know, with good faith and
I know,
lights, then we
I
can
know.
talk about it, you know what
I
I
know.
mean? But, you know, one thing I found out, when I researched it, you know, and I would never want to see us gonna, but one of the counties joins us, charge a $500 player maintenance fee. That's ridiculous. I'd hate to see us ask our kids to pay. If there's a county joins us, charge every kid on the team $500.
But again, that was asked from them, what they would like.
And I'm not trying to
And
bring, yeah.
and we could go from there. It wasn't nothing that, yes, we want to give this and this to make it work.
That was a wish list.
Wish,
It would be, to me,
right.
it would be awesome if we could give them 300, if we could give them $350,000 a year, and maybe next year we could do something, you know?
Right.
That's just my,
It's too late in the year now, probably, for them to have lights for this next season anyway, I would think.
I don't know.
I don't.
I don't know if you can get lights in this coming up.
It's gonna be wet and-
Like I said, I don't know about that. But now you also said, Norma wanted to discuss as far as
The budget's just tight. I mean, you know, we were asked by county commission to cut our proposed budget 1.5 million, and if you remember, I went in and cut water and sewer and electricity and diesel fuel back to last year's expenditures. So there'll probably have to be some amendments made there, because I don't know about you all, but everything in my life is costing more than last year. So we're gonna have amendments there. There's just not a lot of extra money. We're trying to finish the wellness centers. We're trying to work on the Save-A-Lot building. That's our priority. We're getting our staff paid. Sometimes Mr. Smith is mandated to hire extra staff, and we just have a few extra $100,000 right now that we can, quote, play
But
with.
right now, we're a little
Yeah.
ahead.
We're a little bit ahead. We're
It's
good.
early, you know what I mean?
It's
Anything
early.
happens, we're-
We've only paid 3 months of teacher salaries at this point, so we're only 25% into expenditures with salaries for the most part. So it's way early to let you know. Daisy did send us financial reports. I see that she's here late yesterday afternoon. She says that next month she'll try to have them ready so that the board can have information in their packets. So we'll share that with you also starting next month. But my advice is, there's no way we can probably do the $13,000 net, we can squeeze that out of the FY25 budget. But if you're wanting to make a large expenditure like $350,000, it will have to go before county commission and hit fund balance. And I would need your all support there with me if that's how you choose
And
to
Norm,
move
I mean, we say
forward.
this for, I said 13,000, I don't seem like that was what it was last time. But, so I don't know, it may
It's
be
much
80,
more than that, my answer's no.
it may be 80, maybe 20, I don't know, but we can find out. The guys will give you a bid, right, David?
Yeah, he's gonna call, he said take a couple days.
This may not be the time, but how much money did we spend last year in our school system?
Oh, I'd have to look it up to.
Maybe we, you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah.
look, I think it was 38.1, isn't that what they arrived at?
Well, that's, I think that was
Or is that
proposed.
different? I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
that
I don't
was proposed.
understand it.
I think we spent about 30, I hate to quote it without looking, about 31 million last year, I think. But I would like to look at the
Right.
financial records before that is repeated.
And I know the insurance and the things that
And
changed
the new
are gonna
insurance hasn't
increase it.
started yet, so I don't know what effect completely that's gonna have, because those first deductions come out in December. So we're still waiting to see exactly how all that comes in. There's still,
Was that approximately $4 million, or did I?
no, it was we had it estimated at 1.6, I think, didn't we? Insurance, we had the insurance
1.6,
estimated at 1.6.
1.6, but we're not going.
And the raises, that includes the raises?
No, the
No.
raisings were another again, my paper, I've
Roughly
seen a lot of
2.5.
numbers, 2.5, 2.5,
It's
2.5.
about 4 million
Yeah.
more.
Yeah,
But,
Over the 31, so that puts us at 35.
yeah.
but you're not hardly gonna spend, Ben, you're not hardly gonna spend on the benefits as much, because it won't, even though we, signed up, they won't start or kick in until like January. So we'll save some.
But we adjusted our budget, remember county commission
Well, that's true.
on that last cut,
But
I
the
adjusted
1.6,
that back.
we just told him what I think was
Yeah.
appropriate in that.
Instead of, that was for the full 12 months, and then when county commission came back and wanted us to cut another million, we adjusted that insurance
So it'd be
back
like
to
a what,
9
1.2?
months.
If it's possible to get those figures for somebody like myself who doesn't understand accounting that well, where I could understand it, that'd be
Sure,
great.
you want last year's numbers or this?
I think what you're, Mr. Drive, if you'd like to come in and sit down, it'd be the
Yeah.
best way.
If she's got time, that's not
Absolutely.
too bad of inconvenience, if I could understand it better, just,
Well, you can
From
make,
home.
we can make time if that, you
No,
know,
it's
if you
not
want
right.
to, you know, that could be allotted out.
Just let us know, we'll have you a copy ran, you can write on, and just ask
okay,
questions.
yeah, I'd
Well, you
appreciate
can,
that.
if you wanna take one home and ask notes on it, and then come back, and probably speed things up about.
Yes, I'd appreciate that very much.
By the other week.
Absolutely, you want last year's?
Yeah, I think it's. and
Probably
then
last year's, and then
and
of
this
course,
year's
you
too.
know what the increase is gonna be this year as far as.
We'll have last year's and we'll have you this year's both, and then you can.
Yeah, that'd be great, and maybe other
And then
people
Daisy,
would
are you
like to
gonna
have
be
that
here
too.
either at the board meeting or you? So once the financial reports start appearing in your packets next month, she'll also be here for questions if you have any also.
Okay.
I'm here, I mean, she's here. We both can hopefully answer. I have to have it in front of me. We see so many numbers, she and I both do, that I can't, it's hard to quote it without
Thank you.
looking at the reports, or it is for me, so.
I got a pretty simple question. How many PAs, paraprofessionals, whatever, took the insurance? I mean, 80%, 70%, 100%?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too, Scotty.
I was just,
I heard some of them did not take it.
Yeah, they did.
Several.
think
I heard
Rex-
several didn't take it.
I heard that, I don't know if this is correct, we're not offering them any more money if they don't take it.
No,
We got teachers don't take it.
yeah, no, we're
If
not
they don't
allowed
get any
to.
more money,
No, we're not allowed
they're not
to.
taking it. It's just, they don't make, hardly anything. And if they don't take the insurance, they're cutting themselves out of course, they're doing it to themselves, don't get me wrong. They're cutting themselves out of a pretty good benefit that's worth something.
That's their, that's their prerogative to do whatever they want, but now.
No, I asked Audit a few years ago if we could compensate people for not taking insurance, like give them a $2,000 bonus, and the answer was no. You
Okay.
cannot pay.
Well, that was my question.
If they do not take insurance.
I thought it could help a lot of people, if you
It's
could.
a great idea.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Now, on the, anything else?
Robin, we said we had Robin available too, but I would like you to explain Title IX just a little bit.
And, y'all have any more questions?
A little bit,
Mr.
right?
Foreman, any of you have any more questions?
I just want to say on this, I'm all right with this too. My needs is like Tommy, I just want to reiterate, I think we have needs that's more pressing right now than this. I'm all right with this. I'm totally all right with this. Okay?
I'd like to revisit it toward the end of the budget this year.
Because I actually
If we have
voted
any-
for it.
if we have any money left.
We need to talk about it. We need to make sure we talk about this in the planning session we have tomorrow. That's when we make a plan.
That's,
We'll be here all day, you can bring up anything you want to.
And this is where we make a plan. I mean, lights made this, 2 or 3 years ago? And it just took,
Well, you're just whole day deal,
Yeah.
if you want to change the colors of black and gold, you do that.
I doubt that.
But we can.
Yeah, we can discuss it, but I bet we ain't change it.
but the good thing is I'm happy that they had actually give these needs
Yeah.
well in advance before we make a retreat. Or we can,
I will go to Mr. Brooks too and see if he's got anything.
yeah, talk to him about that. He was their attorney. He was the attorney at the time.
We couldn't find, the city didn't have anything recorded. The mayor, they couldn't find that.
You think it'd be a good idea to put a time limit on how long those lights could stay on it? We wouldn't want no practice to go
Well, I
past.
think
You-
that you need to get into.
I wouldn't get into that.
I've got played ball before where that they shut them off, they set a city ordinance, you shut them off at 10, 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
That's what I'm getting at.
I don't think that's, but
But now, if
But
there's a
that
term,
might
or
make people happy too.
if you got a term or something like that going on, that could,
Now, there is a few people was glad there's not lights on there.
Yeah.
Because they say they get home quicker. They don't have to stay at the ballpark all night and get home by dark. You know, I honestly, I had some people tell me that. They're like, we're glad there's not no lights. Of course, now their kids are gone now, so.
but I know, that's something I don't think we want to,
They've also
Well-
got,
and we need to,
That's putting the cart before the horse anyway.
yeah, right, that's a lot of stuff down the
and
road.
those lights have been improved and advanced to where they're more directional and they're not gonna light up all the surrounding areas.
Yes.
For whatever that's worth.
Right.
They're not gonna be able to not go to sleep because light's shining in their
Yep.
windows.
Anybody, Ms. Moore, we need to discuss Title IX.
Just very briefly, I think
Yeah.
Mr. Smith wanted me to make sure that you all, the board members that are not familiar with Title IX, I've seen most of you are, but, I mean, that is something that came into effect, you know, it's been in place for a long time, I think 60s, 70s, maybe like 70s, I think. But if you have facilities where boys and girls sports are to go, you know, you have to make those equal. And if you don't, you can get complaints, you can get fined, there can be lots of issues. We have a Title IX director, I believe it's Dr. Johnson, I believe. So, I mean, we have to make sure that those facilities, and most of the time it's the girls that get left out, not the boys, most of the time is the way that works. So if you provide facilities or playing surfaces or whatever, it has to be at least equal to what the boys have or what the girls have. It goes both ways, but like I said, it's most of the time the girls that get left off. But it has to be equal, at least equal or better than what the boys have. So that's the whole purpose of Title IX is equality in sports for both sexes.
And I was just asking him, what I was asking about was, I guess, board policies. You do know each one of you can get online and run down and check board policies. I know, which the older members, back then we done books and stuff, but now it's all online, and you do, both of y'all understand that you can get online and look at all board policies. Okay, I just want to make sure y'all were having,
But
you
you-
had access to that.
But we don't have access right now to pull out an individual item like policy, maintaining test security. Wonder why that is. Do y'all know, Bonnie, that, I mean, is it just in a format that we can't look at it right here, like on the very last page, it has all the policy numbers? And you
Doesn't
can't,
have the links, but you can go on the website and find those numbers.
Yeah, you go on that
Look it up on
website.
the phone.
it is,
Yeah.
okay.
You can get, open up anything, I reckon.
Yeah, just take that, Marty, and go to that policy number, look it up online and have it.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, of course, Ricky, you can vouch for this, and Joel, you can vouch for this too. I find myself in the old school, because we've been here a long time, Ricky, and policies changes. And I had one the other day I had to go look at, because I thought I was gonna nail Mr. Smith on. But when I pulled up the new policy, which was revised in 2021, off the original policy in 2005, I couldn't get you, so I didn't call you. So, but it changes, and sometimes I'm not aware it changes because I'm thinking old school, you know. But we have the Tennessee School Board Association that keeps our policies pretty much in line, up to date with the current laws and stuff, the recommendation. Now, of course, a lot of times we vote on it,
Yeah.
but sometimes we don't look at the policy
Right.
that fast. But they're in there, and they are current, they're up to date. And for some of us old guys, they're not like they was years ago. They've changed them. So,
And a lot of old school, a lot of state law, if you look in the books, was written by Smith County.
yeah, it sure was.
A lot
Correct.
of it,
A lot of it
that law, if you look back,
in the olden days.
in the olden days, Mr. Joe Anderson times,
Yeah.
if you look back, there was a lot of, Smith County, a lot of, Smith County had to do with it.
So, I've got one question, like, just any policy here on social media or web pages, say that we as a board collectively didn't like something that was stated in that, do we have the right as a board to have that changed, Director?
Probably explain how that.
Yes,
Let's just say they got something in
We've got to
there.
meet a certain level of standard or expectation, but
you can make changes, you know, specific to whatever your school system is.
But it could be-
There's a floor, to whatever you know, a minimum that you have
in
to
other words, you
have.
couldn't decide as a board, even though it's a policy of 185 days, we just wanted to go 80 days.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
got to meet that threshold.
You've got to be able to
If you
still
meet
stay in
that and even
compliance
go
with
over or
state.
beyond,
so Director, Mr. Chairman, so when could you pull one of those items for discussion and then as a board collectively, and if I,
Why don't you get it in,
well, you would, I'm honest, you would probably ask for it and go and discuss, put it on
Yeah.
discussion.
When-
And then we'll
Discussion.
discuss it, so that
Yeah.
you got your board packet, you look and you'd say, I don't agree with 4.600.
Yeah.
But I'd like to talk about some things.
We-
But before you do that, I would ask that if you're gonna pull a policy specifically for discussion, that you reach out to me and make sure that, you know, you don't need to be having, y'all are not the legislature, and if the legislature in Nashville has decided that we've gotta have a policy, then we've gotta have a policy, and so there's no point in pontificating in a board meeting over something that you can't change.
That's actually where I was going to go with this.
Right, but, I mean, there are things that you can change.
give me an example, just give me some kind
I'll
of,
give you an example. When I was on the board, one of the policies, I was on drug testing for our employees. When I was reading the policy, one of the drugs that is, or one of the class of drugs that is often abused, that I see all the time in the court system, is benzodiazepine. And we did not test for that. And we added that as something that we tested for you know, on our employees. And so that was a class of drugs that we added, and we added that because I asked for it to be added. It was in a policy review situation, and that was one of the policies that I reviewed. I asked about it, and that was one of the changes that was made. And like a zero tolerance is another issue that has come up recently that I looked at it. There was other, like in your discipline, like your level 1, level 2 disciplinary issues, if there was something that you felt like you wanted to move maybe from a level 1 to a zero tolerance, that would be another example of where you can make a change and impact policy by doing that. I mean, there may be reasons why they're at level 1, and there may be, you know, suggestions and considerations that you might not be aware of, but that would be an example of a policy that you could change. But you can't go and change things like the number of days that you attend school. That was a good example, you know, of that. You can't change what you provide to special needs students. You can't, you know, those are policies that are stagnant and that you don't have any impact on, and that we are required to have. But if you want to effectuate change in an area of policy, you know, reach out to me and I'll tell you what we have to have, and then if there's something that you want to do, then we can bring it before the board.
Okay. And this board has to review every policy you have every year.
Right.
And the way he does it right now is he gives you a block of policies that if you want to, as a board member, you can pull up and read, and we review it. Because, trust me, was you there when we used to
Yes.
have to go?
I'm the one that made this the way that it
We
is, so
went,
that we didn't
we would
do
have to
that.
go as a group,
It was awful.
policy by policy, and read it and listen. You're talking about some long, boring times.
And the whole binder is like
Yeah.
3-inch binder.
You have to do that every year.
Wow.
And you don't want that.
Painful.
I'm good.
Yeah, I didn't do that for us. They keep it up.
Okay, let's move on to annual policy review for November. Any questions? Executive session.
Very briefly.
You do need one?
Very briefly.
I'll make a motion, we're going to executive session.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote.